In this episode of Biz Jet TV, we're going to be talking about why the Global Express crashes. Now, the Bombardier Global Express was first entered service in 1999. There's over 750 of them built. There's the Global Express, the Global XRS, the Global 5000, the 6000, and now lately the 5500 and the 6500. So, lots of different Global Expresses flying around the world. There's actually only been one fatal accident in the Global Express world, and it was a military version of the Global Express, which is called the E-11A, and it was flying in Afghanistan, and basically one of the fans on one of the engines broke free. The pilot shut the wrong engine down, and consequently, with two engines not functioning, the airplane then crashed and both pilots died. The other incidents that the aircraft has had, there's been a few that have gone off the end of the runway and a few that have had problems in landing with crosswinds where the wing has touched the runway, and so there's been a bit of damage in those instances. So overall, the airplane's a good airplane, and I think the mistakes that have been made, or the accidents that have happened, have all been caused by the pilots. I think what happens with a lot of the Global Expresses is pilots that were flying a lot smaller aircraft end up, because the boss buys the bigger aircraft, end up transitioning on to the bigger aircraft, and having not flown a big aircraft before, and they have difficulty with landing. I mean, obviously, when you're coming in high and fast, you end up going off the end of the runway. That's a stabilization problem. We've talked about stabilized approaches before. You can click on the link above to look at that video. And of course, when you're coming into land with a crosswind with a larger aircraft, you've got to be used to it. I mean, I remember when I transited from the Dornier 328 to the Boeing 737. I mean, my first few landings weren't that good. And, it's a bit of a challenge coming in with this thing. It's a big airplane compared to what I was flying before. We're talking a 20-ton airplane compared to almost a 100-ton airplane. So I think that the problem here with the Global Express has been the pilot training, which is why some accidents have occurred. But overall, this airplane has been very successful. As I said, just one fatal crash. The rest have been incidents where aircraft, there was a bit of damage, but nobody on the airplane got hurt. So with 750 airplanes out there, that's a very, very good safety record. But as I always say, when you're looking at an airplane, yes, you've got to look at the maintenance, you've got to look at the interior and all this stuff, but a lot of people get focused on age, but at the end of the day, it's how this thing's maintained and how the airplane is flown, how the pilots are trained, how they fly the aircraft, and how they're trained to deal with emergencies and difficult situations. But if you've got a good crew, well trained, you're going to be safe. The Global Express, as I said, a good airplane. Does suffer. The older ones tend to sometimes have quite a few AOGs compared to the Gulfstreams, for example. It's a bit more of a sophisticated airplane systems wise, so the pilots really need to get their head around the system. So you do end up getting an AOG, which is aircraft on ground, which means the aircraft can't fly until something on the airplane has been fixed. And that's another thing you need to look at. I know you've been watching this video because you're looking at the accidents, but you've also got to look at the AOG and probability of AOGs happening. And the last person you need to ask about that is the manufacturer, because they'll tell you the airplane is the best in the world. You need to speak to someone independent like myself, which has got real information, because I'm talking to the pilots every day and hearing different getting information from different people from around the world on how the various aircraft operate, when the AOGs happen, how often they happen, and what the reliability is. So the Global Expresses do suffer from quite a few AOGs, but I think a lot of the AOGs that they're having are like pilot-induced AOGs, which again, well-trained pilot can avoid these things from happening or know how to troubleshoot them. That's the main thing. So overall, Global Express, good safety record. Only one accident out of 750 aircraft out there, which is really, really good. And it was due to pilot error. So let me hear your take on your experience with the Global Express. Let's get the comments going below. And if you like this video, give us a super thanks on this one. And also subscribe to Biz Jet TV if you haven't done so already. And check out this other video we did about the Global 7500. And that's all from Biz Jet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.